All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we are going to talk about Canelo Alvarez, who just got done beating Gennady Golovkin, and the opinion given to me by some experts about Canelo Alvarez and the situation with David Benavidez and Jermall Charlo. And look, man, in my opinion and the opinion of other people that I've spoken to, man, it ain't looking good for Cinnamon. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 168-pound division, talking about Canelo Alvarez and some of the things that has gone on this weekend with him relative to David Benavidez and Jermall Charlo, but also share with you with with a very knowledgeable boxing expert shared with me about the actual fight with Canelo Alvarez and what that means for his future. Now, before I get into that though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much for coming by and checking out the video. If you would not mind, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. Also, if you are a longtime subscriber, supporter of the channel, thank you so much for your support. Greatly appreciate it. Hit that like, really does mean a lot. All right. So, and also, if you feel like supporting the channel, there is a way to do it with the super thanks that is down there by the comment section. But if you can do that, great. Would love it. If not, leave a comment. As long as you're respectful, we will, very good chance we'll chop it up. So let's get into this. Canelo Alvarez just got done fighting Gennady Golovkin for all four of his belts at 168, the WBC, WBA, WBO, and the IBF. He was coming off of this is his first fight since coming off of a loss to Dimitri Bivol. And people thought about this fight as basically a fight that was going to get Canelo Alvarez's confidence back, was going to be, entertaining for the fans, and that where he was going to be able to get a knockout and wind up going back to the top of the pound for pound list, all of that good old stuff. What happened in that fight, though, was that Canelo came out looking good in the beginning. In the first 4 or 5 rounds, looked like he was was in control of the fight for sure. Hands looked faster than Gennady's. Golovkin looked like he was, on his way to stopping Gennady Golovkin. But then the 6th round happened. And then slowly but surely, Canelo Alvarez's energy looked like it dipped, and Gennady Golovkin looked like he was basically just trying to lay in wait for the second half of the fight. And then he starts committing a little bit more to his punches, starts going at Canelo Alvarez a little bit more, right? And then the fight winds up going all the way to the 12th round, where Canelo Alvarez wins by a close unanimous decision. And by what I mean by close is the scorecards were 115, 113, 115, 113, and 116, 112, right? So if Gennady Golovkin had managed to win one more round on one scorecard, it would have been a majority draw. And, the night pretty much for Canelo would have been a disaster. Even though I think the scorecards should have been a little bit wider than that, that's what the actual case was and what took place. Now, what does it mean when you're looking at this fight for him? Talk with a very, very good friend of mine, ex-boxing expert, really, really respect his opinion, share his opinion on the channel a good amount. And his take was, look, Canelo Alvarez is an old fighter. Gennady Golovkin was in there and looked every bit of 40 years old, he was never a fast fighter, fast of foot or fast of hand, but definitely you can see that he is taking a significant dip in his stamina, in his speed, in his work rate, right? All of that stuff. And then Canelo Alvarez also looks like he was an aged fighter. He started off fast. He had advantage in the speed, but as the time went on, he was never able to pick up the pace on Gennady Golovkin. And in fact, when Gennady Golovkin picked up the pace on him, Canelo Alvarez's pace looked like it decreased. So when I asked him, I was like, well, what do you think about what's going forward, specifically about a fight with David Benavidez at 168 or Jermall Charlo. And his take was, look, Demetrius if he not Demetrius Andrade, let me make sure the names say their name right. David Benavidez, and Jermall Charlo. David Benavidez is the former WBC champion at 168. Jermall Charlo is the current WBC champion at 160, and are two people that the PBC had offered a lot of money to Canelo Alvarez to fight, and a fight that a lot of people want to see. And his take was this, and he was preaching to the choir on this, that there's a very good chance that Canelo Alvarez will get stopped by David Benavidez. That David Benavidez's hand speed, his power, and his work rate, and the fact that Canelo Alvarez's footwork looks very, very slow, that could actually be a terrible matchup for him at this point in time, and that there is a chance for Canelo Alvarez to win the fight. However, there's also a chance if Canelo Alvarez slips at all, right? And say, for example, that it was a situation where Canelo Alvarez looked faster because of how slow Gennady Golovkin has become. Then if he gets in there with a very fast young fighter like David Benavidez, that could be a whole lot of trouble for him, because David Benavidez is somebody that has first of all, he's a high volume puncher who has a chin, and he has exceptionally fast hands. David Benavidez may have the fastest hands of anybody above the weight of 135 pounds in boxing. I mean, that, and this is a guy that's at 168. Literally, I myself can't think of anybody that I know of that has faster hands than him. For sure, faster hands than David Benavidez, that is above the weight at 140, 147 and above. Now, maybe Jaron Ennis hand speed when he decides to let his hands go and go loosely, maybe him. But I don't think Terrence Crawford does, and I don't think Errol Spence Jr. does. I don't think anybody at 160 or 154 have that type of hand speed as well. So that's just speed kills, and somebody that is that fast, that has that type of work rate. And also, Canelo Alvarez has been in a pattern for the last 5 or 6 fights. That pattern is pretty much consistent. He's looking for counter punches. He's looking to throw arm shots, back shots, get your hands to drop, looking for the big left hook for the knockout. And people are a lot more are able to time that better, see that better, and know it's coming. Specifically, what happened with Dmitry Bivol, but also I think what happened with Gennady Golovkin as well, because Gennady Golovkin had been in a ring with him before, but it was clear that he studied and knew what was going on with Dmitry Bivol. Now, as far as Jermall Charlo, the take on Jermall Charlo is the same thing as David Benavidez, but more in the situation being closer to Dmitry Bivol, right? And versus David Benavidez. Because, Jermall Charlo's got a very good long, stiff jab, very good right hand, and he's more mobile, and very well may outscore Canelo Alvarez over the course of the fight. So, I believe this to be the truth myself, that, this European tour that Canelo Alvarez has been going on is for a reason. I'm not going to fight other Mexican fighters, and these other guys have not done enough to prove that they deserve a fight with me, while he's still fighting guys that didn't do any more than the other guys have done. All of this to me makes me feel as if this is something that is not just, speculation on the part of, boxing experts or YouTube channels or myself or whatever. It's also something that is known by Canelo Alvarez's camp. This guy's had 60 plus fights, so many rounds, so many years of training as a 17-year pro, that it is just, him getting in there with them young dogs, or even guys his own age that have a lot less mileage on them, right? Who's in the ring age is less, may not be the best bet for him. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.